Well, hello internets, here we are. Sorry if the lighting is a little bit subpar, but it is what it is. I'm sure it's brighter than, well, the other place. Even marginal anyways. Well, have I got a little bit of a story for you. And yeah, welcome to our vlog, so here we go. Well, it's been quite an eventful, what's it been? 3 days? 4 days? This is the 4th day. As I said in my last vlog, I was getting settled in. Getting all squared away, getting things put away, getting down to the last, few things to do, and setting up the office was the next on the agenda and things like that. Well, like many do, around about 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night, we start to wind down for the night, start to, look forward to a good night's sleep, especially after the last few weeks of moving and things like that. So I went and did the customary routine, taking the dog for a walk right around 9 o'clock. Met up with a family member who lives across the complex, picked up some leftover supper from a family supper the previous few hours earlier, and then walked back home, or back to the apartment here. So let's just say it was 9:05, 9:15 at the very latest, probably closer to 9:10. Came upstairs, poured me a cold drink, sat down on the couch, watched a short YouTube video. Then I queued up a 18-minute YouTube video. And I was sitting there on the couch and I could smell something that was a little bit weird. But you're living in an apartment complex with quite a few other people, and some people are of different nationalities, so they have different dietary choices. Coming from the building that I moved out of recently, believe me, there was lots of weird smells at any time of day or night coming from that building, so it wasn't out of the ordinary. So I'm sitting there watching the 18-minute video and I'm like, somebody must be barbecuing. And I'm sitting there again, and it's like, this doesn't smell like barbecue, it smells a little more like plastic. Well, some idiot must be burning garbage in his fireplace, which happens actually here from what I've been told. So, and then, you kind of start to hear a little bit of a crackle. Not so much a sizzle like somebody barbecuing, or so, and you go. I was pretty relaxed. I was in my birthday suit-ish. I grab a shirt, go to the balcony, stick my head over the balcony, and well, there's a fire. Yes, I said that right, there's a fire. I looked to the left, and the suite right next to me was on fire. Yeah, I come back inside, grab my phone. Keep in mind, this is probably 9:35, 9:40-ish. Call 911. I'm on the phone with 911. They're asking me all these questions that half of them I don't think I even answered or even really cared about. The main question was the address, the city, and send fire now, I didn't care where I was, if I was safe, or if I was wearing a blue shirt or a red shirt, or if I had Subway for supper. Like, some of the questions they asked was just redundant. And then they put me on hold and dispatched the fire trucks. By then, according to my call logs, like 4 minutes or 5 minutes more had gone by, and in the meantime I was on the phone with 911. I'm getting dressed. I'm trying to wrangle up the cat, jam her in the cat crate. First I had to remember where the cat crate was, because it was in the closet at the other place for years, and it was in the outside shed at the house for years. But here, I forgot where it went, so I had to go root for it, and I found it, and then I had to chain up the dog, or harness up the dog, and I came to the office here, and I had my laptop bag with all my camera gear in it from the move, with this camera and a few others close by, and I grabbed that go bag thinking, I may not be back, right? And my main concern was getting me and my critters, my dog and cat, out of the apartment here. I thought maybe, I'd have a chance to come back and get something more or whatever, but I never you thinking, this is your one-shot deal at it, right? You don't know what you're going to find when you open that door. The apartment next to yours is on fire. Are you going to have to jump off the third-story balcony? Are you going to have to, I don't know, Spider-Man out your window and run across the roof and, jump from a tree to the ground, kind of a thing, right? And I open the door and I get me an old snoot full of sooty, hot, smoky air, so I, cover my mouth with my shirt, this, very shirt that I'm wearing. Yeah, I know, I should probably change it. It's probably not good to breathe it in. I run down the stairs, and the smoke is getting more as I'm going down to the second level, because that's where the fire originated from. And I come out the front entrance, because the back entrance is where the fire was, so I went up the front. At that point, I'm having trouble breathing. I am thinking to myself, well, I'll get me and the critters to the grass, and if I pass out on the grass, at least the animals are safe, right? And luckily, when I made it outside, I got a nice shot of fresh, clean, cold air, and my lungs were reasonably clear enough, and I ran around the back side of the building. I threw the critters, the dog and the cat, of course, respectively, in their crate, and the dog on her leash in the back of the truck. I got in the truck, and I took this here photo here. This here photo was took probably 10-15 minutes or so after originally spotting the fire. Now you notice in the photo there is a blue light flashing in reflection on the sign, and you already notice damage to the balcony and the railing and the above balcony and railing. So, and obviously if there was smoke in the hallways, the windows, at least on the second floor, were already compromised at that point. So at that point the fire could have already been burning for a good 20 minutes by then. There was a cop behind me, and I did not see a fire truck on scene yet, but witnesses say that there was sirens in the distance. So I backed up about a foot, and the way my parking stall is, I'm the last one on the end of the row, so I was able to drive the truck between the two buildings, between two trees underneath the low-lying tree branches. I probably scratched the roof of the truck and the topper doing it, but I squeezed out, got underneath, drove down the front sidewalk like a maniac over to a family member's apartment on the other side of the complex. I figured I could drop the critters off there and maybe come back and get more stuff, or come back and be accounted for, because they did a roll call, right? So I gave the critters to the family member, and by the time I come back, they were already completely set up, like the fire cops, ambulance, crowds, looky-loos onlookers, most of the people were already out of the building at that point. I did not hear an alarm when I left. However, I did come out early, so maybe the smoke hadn't penetrated the apartment thick enough yet to have set off the hallway alarms. And I'll put a few more photos here and maybe add a little more narration if I can remember exactly what I was feeling or seeing. But you're standing there in the crowd, in the cold, in the cool air. It wasn't cold, but cool. And watching your apartment burn. You're not knowing if the fire's going to consume your apartment, or if you're going to be spared, or if you're going to have to move again, or lose your belongings, or what. You're hoping that everybody made it out okay, because you're looking at those two apartment suites, and they're fully engulfed. The third floor one was empty. It was being renovated. And the second floor one was where the fire started. It appears to have started on the balcony or the deck. Probably in a couch that was only out there for a day or two prior. And probably had to do with discarded cigarette butt, judging by the amount of cigarette butts that were thrown on the grass and ground the previous weeks when I moved in. I noticed all the snowdrift of cigarette butts on the ground. So obviously there was smoking material discarded properly and not being took care of in that apartment. In my opinion, allegedly, anyway. It was a really, really fast, really, really hot fire. I don't know how a cigarette starts a couch on fire. There may have been something more than a simple, lost cigarette in the cushions. Something hotter, something quicker. But hey, that's not for me to say. I was just sitting there on the couch watching a Netflix or watching a YouTube video, and thought somebody was barbecuing, and nobody's got time for that, right? Well, over the last, whatever it's been, 3 nights, and I think this is the third day, I've got very little sleep. I've had an hour, I've had micro naps. The first night I had no sleep. I am jumpy, I am on edge. Every time I hear a noise, I go check, and every time I see a flash, I go look, and every time I hear a bang, or every time when I've tried to work my way around things, my anxiety is extremely high, and I've tried to work my way through things and nothing is working, and I'm not quite sure what to do. Like, victim services was there at the end of the fire and taking people's names and stuff, and I was kind of scolded because I waited to leave the building because I had my animals. Well, that person I talked to may not care about animals, but these animals have been with me a very long time. The cat is a better part of 16 years. The dog is 6 years now or so. And even though the cat didn't start out as my cat, she has become, we got an understanding. Kind of a cantankerous old bag that really doesn't like me, but yet still comes and tolerates me, and I feed her and she likes me, kind of a thing. The dog has helped me through a lot of dark times since my workplace injury. A lot of down times, especially after my dad passed away. I have no idea where I would be without the company of the animals, especially the dog, being the way the dog is. She calms my anxiety as best as she can, and when I'm tired she puts me to bed, per se, and keeps me from overdoing it. And my cat used to be like that, but he didn't make it, didn't make it long. he only lasted 14 years or so before he had to go, and it was a hard thing to lose him, and there was no way I was going to lose another animal, and much less willingly leave them behind in a fire. Willingly, you know, I would face burns on my legs or my arms or my face to save my animals. And over the last few days and nights when I've been sitting here, I've been trying to work in my mind how I could quickly evacuate my animals if the stairwell was blocked. You know, the front or back stairwell was blocked. How would I get the animals out of the third floor? You know, could I do have a wired dog crate. Could I hook the dog crate onto a chain and lower it down? Granted, it'll probably be a better part of, 100 pounds by the time the crate, the chain, the dog is in there. You know, you put the cat in there too, because they do get along reasonably well for close, confined spaces. And then, of course, that would only work providing the apartment below you is not on fire. And as for me, a rope ladder or a chain ladder, I could probably slide or climb down a story or two and then drop, the other 10 feet kind of a thing. And it makes a person play through their mind about go bags, emergency bags, change of clothes, vacuum packed cat food, dog food, first aid kit in like a duffel or one of those army bags with the shoulder straps that clip so you can have your hands free around, so you could bug out bag around, so maybe a respirator, asbestos respirator mask to kind of filter the charcoal or filter the air so you can kind of half breathe. So yeah, that was my adventure. The fire department did very, very well. The police did very, very well controlling the crowds and comforting us. The management company that owns the building did very, very well managing the chaos with the clipboards, going around with the clipboards, making sure everyone was accounted for and no one was left inside. No one was left inside. I'm not 100% sure where I was going with this, but it all worked out fairly well. Everything worked out good. There was no injuries reported yet. There was a pregnant lady, but she was took to the hospital by ambulance, and because I'm told that trauma could cause issues with a pregnancy and such, so everything worked out fairly well. When you look at the damage to the suites, there was 8 suites in total that sustained damage. Whether it was the hot fire or whether it was water, whether it was smoke or so. When you look at the building, the other half, where the fire was, the roof is compromised over there, and it wasn't long before the fire would have been in the attic or more, and then it would have spread to where I have no idea why the fire went east instead of west toward my apartment, but it was a calm night. There wasn't a wind, unlike last night where the wind was. There wasn't a wind, but for some odd reason the fire went east away from my apartment. And my apartment was 98% untouched. Maybe a little bit of smoke in the air, but that might have been from me leaving the patio glass open in a panic. Might have been from the fire chief and the landlord doing a walkthrough on the apartment, because there were sooty footprints on the floor. Could have been from my clothes that I'm wearing, my hair, things like that, right? And it's been a rough few days. Hoping to be able to get my anxiety under control, work my way around it. I need to catch more sleep than an hour or two now and again, and they've hired security, so now everything is safe. There's kind of a watch out there, and maybe a guy can get some sleep now knowing that he doesn't have to be the self-appointed watch person anymore. But really, when you think of it, the fire was probably burning for a good half hour to 45 minutes. They were on scene for like 2.5, 3 hours in total before they gave us the all clear to go back in. When you consider how hot that fire was, how much damage there was, these buildings are built fairly well with their firewalls and their fire doors and their bulkheads to keep the fire half contained to a certain block rather than the whole complex or whole strip itself. I know that other families has been displaced and damaged, and they're in motel rooms put up by the Red Cross, but it could have been a lot worse. Just imagine if the fire was an hour later where more people were sleeping. You know, I don't know. I'm hoping that I wasn't the only called on 911. I'm hoping that I wasn't even the first called on 911, because I was probably 10 minutes behind when I first smelt barbecue or burning garbage out. So I'm hoping other people called before me, but that time of night people are shutting things down, people are showering, people are going to bed, people are sleeping already, so you never know, right? But pretty much, guys, that concludes the vlog here for this here day. I'm gonna, cope with what I can, do what I can, be grateful that I still have what I have my critters, have my animals, have me, have my health as much as it always is or was, and the fire didn't consume my apartment, didn't damage my apartment. It was like there was a bubble around our apartment where it didn't come this way, where other people toward the east got it, and even those that weren't part of the fire or affected by the fire still got heat and water damage. But it's a little bit of a shock. I've never been through that before. When I was young, we lost a shed to a fire and damaged the back of our trailer to a fire, like the siding. But I was in daycare and Mom and Dad were at work, and we didn't know until we got home. So I don't remember the fire, obviously, because I wasn't there. But I remember Dad's shed, my playhouse, and my chicken and rabbit, I believe, being gone, and I don't know why. I was probably only 4 or 5 at the most at the time. But I remember that, and that was a memory from about 40 years ago. One of my first handful of memories. But it is what it is. We'll put one foot in front of the other, keep rolling on, keep going day to day, living life and looking forward, rebuilding our life like we were, being grateful for what we have, the blessings we've incurred, and the safety and such that is in our life, because there's no reason why the fire went east and not west. So, as always, thanks for watching this here vlog. Have a great night, and we will catch y'all next time.